The stars burned quietly in the endless night of space, but silence did not mean peace. In the vast halls of the Galactic Council, voices rose like storms. Alien leaders, dressed in robes of shining silk and armored plates, argued about one single subject: Earth. To most of the council, humanity was nothing. A young species, a world of dirt farmers and dreamers. Yes, humans had entered space, built colonies on a few moons and stations, but compared to the grand empires of the galaxy, Earth was dust under their boots. Humans must be reminded of their place, hissed the Vuroth speaker, a tall reptilian with scales like cracked stone. They talk too loudly for a race that has only just learned to leave its cradle. A wave of laughter spread through the chamber. Other empires agreed. To them, Earth was a curiosity, not a threat. But lately, whispers had reached the council. Whispers of a hidden human fleet. Whispers of warships unseen, of weapons too advanced for their age. Most leaders dismissed it as lies, propaganda, or human arrogance. Still, one thought lingered. What if it was true? The council voted. It was decided that Earth would be tested, humbled, and broken. An armada of alien warships, drawn from several great empires, would be sent. Their mission: challenge Earth, defeat its fleet, and force humanity to kneel. The order spread across the galaxy. Ships gathered in the darkness, thousands of alien vessels forming a wall of fire and steel. Back on Earth, leaders received the Council's challenge. Many expected fear, panic, and surrender. Instead, Earth's chambers remained quiet. The human representatives sat together in silence, eyes sharp, hands folded. Then, one voice spoke, calm, steady, without a tremor. They want to test us. They will learn. No more words were needed. In the shadows of the solar system, old warships stirred. They had been sleeping for decades, hidden in asteroid belts, buried under the ice of forgotten moons, drifting in dark orbits where no alien eye could see. Each one was built in secret, each one a monument to human survival. Humanity had not been idle. The people of Earth had studied every threat, every insult, every act of arrogance the galaxy had thrown at them. They had listened, learned, and built quietly. While the galaxy mocked them, they forged ships of steel and fire. While alien empires laughed, humanity prepared. The alien fleet approached with pride. They expected a short war. They expected Earth to beg for mercy. Their commanders spoke of victory in days, perhaps hours. To them, this was not war, it was sport. But in the dark, human eyes watched. On Mars, a young pilot named Arik stood in the hangar bay of a silent ship. Its hull was black, absorbing the red glow of the planet. No insignias, no marks, nothing to reveal its nature. It looked almost like a shadow. But inside, the ship was alive, engines humming, weapons locked, waiting for the signal. Orcs, commander, an older woman named Admiral Kalen, walked the deck with a calm expression. Her voice carried across the bay. Do not think of fear. Do not think of mercy. The galaxy thinks we are weak. Today, they will learn the truth. Her words echoed in every soldier's heart. For years, they had trained in silence, holding back their fury. Now that silence would end. The alien armada finally entered the solar border. Their ships lit up the void like a storm of suns. They sent a message across every channel, their words filled with arrogance and venom. People of Earth, submit. Bow before the Galactic Council. Accept your place or be erased. The message spread through Earth's networks, reaching colonies, cities, even children in classrooms. The world held its breath, but Earth's reply was not fear. Across every human channel, a single phrase appeared: the fleet is ready. The aliens laughed when they heard it. What fleet? Earth's ships were small, outdated, nothing compared to their thousands. But their laughter faded when strange signals began to appear. Energy readings flared from the asteroid belt. Hidden bases powered up. Moons that seemed empty came alive with engines. One by one, massive human ships emerged from the dark. They were not toys. They were not weak. They were monsters of steel, sharp and silent, rising from shadows like ghosts of war. Inside the alien flagship, the commander, a proud general of the Zyrak Empire, leaned forward in his chair, eyes narrowing. "Impossible," he muttered. His sensors counted ships that should not exist. Hundreds, thousands. Each one carried a signature no alien scientist could explain. Weapons glowed with unknown energy. Hulls reflected scans as if the ships were shadows themselves. The Council had wanted a test. But this was no test. This was war, and humanity had been waiting. The first human fleet aligned in silence near Neptune's orbit. Their formation was flawless, their ships moving as one. No boastful messages, no threats, only quiet. The alien commander ordered his ships to prepare for the first strike. But in the silence before battle, a thought rippled through every alien heart. What if the whispers were true? What if humanity was not the child they believed? But the predator they feared? Earth had been challenged. Now the galaxy would see the answer. The galaxy thought humanity's words were just noise. But whispers began to spread, carried by traitors, smugglers, and spies who had wandered too close to Sol. They spoke of strange signals pulsing from the asteroid belt. They spoke of entire moons going dark, their surfaces sealing shut, as if hiding something beneath. And most of all, they spoke of a fleet no one had ever seen, yet everyone feared. At first, the whispers were ignored. The galaxy had laughed at Earth for too long to believe such things. But as the alien armada sailed toward the solar system, even the proudest empires began to wonder. On the surface of Titan, Saturn's largest moon, a hidden hangar opened. Inside lay ships unlike any the galaxy had ever built. Their hulls were sleek and black, made of metals no alien scanner could fully identify. Their edges looked sharp enough to cut through light itself. The ships woke from slumber as power surged through their cores. Lights flickered on. Weapons came alive. In one corner of the hangar, Captain Lyra stood in silence, her gloved hands folded behind her back. She had waited for this day for years. Training, secrecy, endless nights of quiet drills. Now, the time had come. Beside her, a young technician whispered nervously, "Captain, do you think they know?" Lyra turned her gaze toward the endless night beyond Titan's ice. "No," she said calmly. "If they knew, they would have never come." The alien fleet approached the edge of the solar system with arrogance. Thousands of ships, bristling, with weapons, engines roaring like a storm. Their leaders spoke of quick victory. But as they crossed Neptune's orbit, their scanners began to break. Ghost readings appeared. Strange shadows danced across their radars. Whole sectors showed empty, one moment filled with massive signatures the next. One alien officer tapped his console again and again. "Sir, the numbers cannot be right. It shows hundreds of human ships." The commander laughed harshly. "Impossible. They are tricks. Ghost echoes. Humans are too primitive for this." Yet the whispers refused to die. In the depths of space, humanity's secret was revealed. The first fleet, hidden for decades, moved silently into formation. Ships that had never been seen before spread across the dark like hunters waiting for prey. Each vessel was larger than any alien expected. They were not clumsy constructions, but works of deadly art. Their weapons glowed with quiet fire. Their engines thrummed with restrained power. Still, the humans said nothing. No threats, no speeches, only silence. That silence was worse than any boast. On Earth, the world watched. Civilians huddled around screens, radios, and transmitters. They saw the alien fleet as points of light moving closer every hour. They felt the fear of what might come, but they also felt something else. Pride. For the first time, humanity stood together, not divided by nations or flags. They watched their hidden fleet awaken, and they knew Earth was not weak. Earth was ready. Meanwhile, inside the alien flagship, doubt began to spread. The commander, a scarred warrior of the Zyrak Empire, stared at the shifting readings. His claws tapped the arm of his throne. "Why do they stay silent?" he demanded. "Why do they not beg for mercy?" No one answered. An aide approached nervously. "Sir, what if the whispers were true? What if Earth really has a fleet?" the commander snarled. "Then we will crush it as we crush everything else." But his eyes betrayed unease. Back near Titan, Captain Lyra gave her final orders. "Release the signal," she said. Across every human channel, a single message flashed again and again. "The fleet is ready." It spread through space like wildfire. The aliens heard it. The Council heard it. Even distant traders heard it. And with those 4 words, the whispers became truth. The alien fleet pushed deeper, and suddenly, the darkness shifted. From the asteroid belt, massive warships emerged, one after another, engines igniting like blue stars. From under the ice of Europa, hidden silos split open, releasing cruisers that had been buried for decades. From deep orbits near Neptune, colossal carriers slid forward, their black hulls blotting out starlight. The whispers were no longer whispers. They were real. One alien pilot, trembling in his seat, muttered into the comm, "They were waiting for us." The human fleet formed up, perfect lines across the void. Their ships faced the alien armada without a single word spoken. The silence was suffocating. It was not the silence of fear. It was the silence of predators waiting to strike. On Earth, a child sitting with his mother whispered as he watched the screen, "Mom, are we going to win?" The mother did not take her eyes off the glowing image of the fleet. Her lips curved into a faint smile. "We already have." And in that moment, across the galaxy, leaders who had mocked Earth began to feel something they had never felt before: fear. The alien armada reached the edge of Earth's space. Thousands of ships lit the void like a burning wall of suns. Their commanders were proud, their soldiers confident. To them, Earth was already defeated, just another name to be erased from the star maps. Yet, across the dark, humanity's fleet waited. Black ships with no insignias, no banners, no wasted words. They drifted like shadows, silent and steady, their weapons glowing faintly. They did not move. They did not blink. They only watched. The alien commander, General Vorak, of the Zyrak Empire, leaned forward in his throne. His eyes narrowed as he studied the human formation. "They are too few," he said coldly. "We will crush them in the first strike." His officers saluted, but none of them felt as sure as his words. Their sensors showed the human ships were large, larger than anything expected. Their energy readings were wrong. Too strong, too sharp, impossible. But arrogance is a poison that blinds even the sharpest eyes. The first move came from the aliens. A storm of plasma missiles erupted from their front lines. Thousands of warheads streaked across the void, painting the black of space with fire. Alien soldiers cheered as they watched the death storm close in. The human fleet did not move. Not one ship, not one weapon fired back. The missiles struck and vanished. Explosions lit the void, but when the fire cleared, the human ships remained untouched. Their shields shimmered like glass, absorbing every strike. Not a single hull was breached, not a single ship destroyed. For the first time, silence spread across the alien comms. General Vorak's smile faltered. Then the human fleet moved. It was not slow. It was not clumsy. It was as if one mind controlled them all. The front line of human warships shifted into perfect formation. Energy built along their hulls, glowing brighter and brighter until the stars themselves seemed dim. Admiral Kalen, aboard the human flagship Eclipse, raised her hand. Her voice was calm, but it carried like thunder through every ship. Fire! The void exploded. Beams of white-blue energy shot forward, carving through the alien armada. Entire squadrons disappeared in seconds. Ships that had stood for centuries were cut apart like paper. Shields collapsed, armor melted, engines burst like dying suns. One strike. That was all it took. Alien soldiers screamed. Commanders shouted orders. But it was chaos. The human fleet had moved with precision. Every shot timed, every target chosen. In the space of a heartbeat, thousands of alien lives were gone. On Earth, the people watched the battle unfold through streams and broadcasts. Cities that had held, their breath now roared with cries of shock and pride. Children stared wide-eyed. Soldiers on the ground clenched their fists, whispering the same word again and again. Victory. Inside the alien flagship, General Vorak's claws dug into his throne. His voice shook with fury. Impossible. No fleet has this power, no fleet. His officers hesitated. They could not deny what they saw. Ships were dying faster than orders could be given. Their weapons were useless. Their defenses broke like glass. One officer whispered, his voice trembling. "Sir, this is not a test, this is extermination." Meanwhile, aboard the Eclipse, Admiral Kalen gave no sign of joy. She only watched as her ships moved like hunters in perfect silence. Her second-in-command, Captain Arik, leaned close. They never stood a chance. Kalen's eyes remained fixed on the dying armada. They wanted war. Now they will learn the price. The alien fleet tried to fight back. Desperate commanders ordered counterstrikes. Plasma cannons roared, railguns fired, torpedoes streaked across the void, but every shot missed, blocked, or dissolved against human defenses. The aliens had numbers. Humanity had precision. The aliens had arrogance. Humanity had patience. And patience had built perfection. One by one, the alien ships burned. Explosions rippled across the void like dying stars. Vessels collided as they fled in panic, their formations breaking apart. Some tried to retreat, but human warships cut off every path, moving like shadows to block their escape. Panic spread faster than fire. "Fall back," one alien commander shouted. "No retreat. Hold the line," another cried. But no line remained. The line was ash. In the middle of chaos, a lone alien pilot whispered into his comms, though no one was listening anymore. "They are not weak. They were never weak." Back on Earth, the broadcast captured a chilling image. The human fleet advancing slowly through the burning wreckage, ships glowing faintly, weapons ready for the next strike. No cheers rose from the humans in those ships. No laughter. No words of triumph. Only silence. And that silence carried a message louder than any weapon. The galaxy had challenged Earth. Now, Earth was answering. General Vorak stared at the battlefield, his pride bleeding away. His fleet, once a wall of steel and fire, was now shattered ruins. He realized too late that the Council had not sent Earth a test. They had sent Earth a reason, and humanity never forgot reasons. The battle was far from over, but already the galaxy had begun to understand. The humans had been patient, too patient, and patience, when broken, was the sharpest weapon of all. The battlefield had become a graveyard. Where thousands of alien ships once stood, now only wreckage drifted, burning husks tumbling through the black void. Engines sputtered, shields failed, communications broke into static and screams. The alien armada, once called unstoppable, was breaking apart before the eyes of the galaxy. On the alien flagship, General Vorak slammed his claw against the command console, sparks flying. His voice roared through the comms. "Hold the line, regroup, do not let them press forward," but his words were wasted. There was no line left to hold. His captains shouted back in panic, "They're everywhere. Our weapons can't pierce. They're shields. We've lost half the fleet." The human fleet advanced without pause. Not fast, not reckless, slow, precise. Each formation moved like a single living creature, cutting through the chaos with flawless unity. When one human warship fired, 3 more followed, their beams converging on alien cruisers and erasing them in a single flash. From a distance, it looked less like a battle and more like a harvest. Admiral Kalen stood at the center of the flagship, Eclipse, her hands clasped behind her back. Her voice was calm, even as alien fleets crumbled before her. Maintain formation, no mercy, no hesitation. End them. Her officers obeyed without question. They had waited years for this moment. Years of silence. Years of being mocked. Now, every shot fired was not just war. It was justice. Across the alien fleet, despair spread like wildfire. A captain of the Vuroth Empire tried to rally his soldiers, shouting, "We are stronger! We are—" His words ended in fire as his ship exploded into nothing. A squadron of sleek alien interceptors dove toward the human fleet, hoping to strike their flanks. But before they reached firing range, their ships were torn apart by invisible defenses, ripped open as if space itself had turned against them. The alien pilots never even saw what killed them. On the alien flagship, Vorex's second-in-command whispered the words he dared not say aloud. "We cannot win." Vorex's claws tightened on the armrest, rage and fear battling inside him. "We are the Council's finest armada. We do not retreat." But even as he spoke, he saw it in his soldiers' eyes. They wanted to run. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the fleet, Captain Lyra's warship Obsidian sliced through the enemy. Her crew cheered as another alien cruiser went dark. "Target eliminated," her weapons officer announced. Lyra nodded, her face steady. "Do not cheer yet. The battle is not finished. The galaxy is watching." Her words carried weight. Humanity was not just fighting to survive. They were sending a message. And the message was written in fire. Alien ships tried to scatter, some fleeing toward the edges of the battlefield. But the human fleet anticipated every move. Interceptor wings broke away, cutting off escape routes. Carriers launched drone swarms that swarmed enemy stragglers, tearing them apart piece by piece. It was like watching predators hunt prey that never had a chance. On Earth, billions of people watched the live feeds with wide eyes. Some wept, unable to believe what they were seeing. Others raised their fists, shouting with pride. In one small village, an old veteran whispered as he stared at the glowing screens, This is why we built them. This is why we waited." Back in space, the alien fleet shattered further. Wreckage drifted, survivors screamed, commanders begged for orders that never came. Finally, one alien voice broke the silence of command channels. "Retreat. Retreat before we all die." The words spread quickly, repeated again and again, until whole wings of alien ships broke formation and tried to flee. But humanity did not allow it. Admiral Kalen gave a single command: "Block every exit." In seconds, the battlefield closed around the aliens like a trap. Human warships spread into wide arcs, their black hulls glinting against the burning wreckage. Every path out of the solar border was sealed. The alien fleet was no longer an army. It was prey, in a cage. General Vorak's face twisted with rage. His pride, his empire, his name, all burned with every ship lost. He slammed his fist against the console until blood dripped from his claws. "This was supposed to be a lesson for them," he shouted. "Now we are the lesson." No one dared reply. Aboard the Eclipse, Kalen finally spoke the words her fleet had been waiting to hear. "Erase them." The void lit up with fury. Human warships fired in unison, beams of energy tearing through alien lines. One after another, ships exploded into clouds of fire and debris. Cruisers collapsed, destroyers shattered. Battleships that had once carried Empire's pride fell in silence. The aliens who had mocked humanity were now nothing but echoes in the dark. On Earth, the feed went quiet for a moment as cameras caught a chilling image. The shattered armada, burning wrecks drifting across the void, and behind them, humanity's fleet still in perfect formation, untouched, waiting in silence. The galaxy had sent its finest armada to humble Earth. Instead, it had been humbled, and the galaxy knew. Earth was no longer a voice to ignore. Earth was a power to fear. The battlefield was silent. Where once an alien armada had filled the void with fire and pride, now only ruins remained. Wreckage drifted like broken bones through the cold dark. Sparks flickered from shattered hulls. Fragments of once proud banners floated uselessly among the stars. Humanity's fleet stood untouched. Their ships glowed faintly against the black, weapons still alive, as if daring any survivor to try again. Inside the flagship Eclipse, Admiral Kalen looked at the battlefield with steady eyes. She had seen victories before, but this was different. This was not just a battle, it was a message. Her second-in-command, Captain Arik, stood beside her. His voice was quiet. "It's over." Kalen shook her head. "No, it has only begun. The galaxy is watching." In the distance, a few alien ships still limped away, engines burning weakly. Their comms carried nothing but broken cries and desperate whispers. Many begged for mercy. Others cursed humanity with their final breaths. But the human fleet did not chase them. They did not need to. The survivors would carry the story farther than any broadcast ever could. On Earth, billions of people watched the final images. Cities erupted with noise, cheers, tears, and cries of triumph. For the first time in history, humanity stood as one, not divided by borders or nations. They had faced the galaxy's might, and won. But even in celebration, there was no arrogance. There were no mocking words, no songs of conquest. Only a deep, steady pride. Because humanity knew this truth, survival was not about boasting. It was about being ready when the time came, and humanity had been ready. Far away, in the chambers of the Galactic Council, silence ruled. The alien leaders who had once laughed at Earth now sat frozen, their faces pale, their voices dead. Holoscreens showed the aftermath, the shattered fleet, the burning wreckage, the silent wall of human warships. One counselor whispered almost in disbelief, "They erased them." In seconds. Another slammed his fist against the table. This cannot be. Humanity was supposed to be weak. But weakness was a lie. Every whisper, every rumor, every warning ignored, had now become truth too big to deny. General Vorak's name was erased from records that day. His empire did not speak of him again. To admit his defeat was to admit humanity's strength, and the galaxy feared to speak it aloud. But fear does not need words to live. Meanwhile, back on the Eclipse, Kalen gave her final order for the battle. "Hail to you. Position. Do not advance. Let the galaxy see us as we are." The fleet obeyed. They did not scatter to hunt the last survivors. They did not press forward to claim trophies. They stood still, an unbroken wall of steel and silence. The image spread. Across the stars, broadcasts captured their black hulls gleaming faintly, lined up in perfect formation. To every world watching, to every empire that once believed Earth was a joke, the sight was unforgettable. Humanity had no need to roar. Their silence was enough. On a small colony at the edge of the galaxy, a young alien boy sat with his father, staring at the glowing feed. The boy's voice trembled. "Father, will they come for us too?" The father did not answer at once. His eyes were filled with something the boy had never seen before. Fear. Finally, the father whispered, "Pray." They never have reason. In time, the wreckage of the Council's grand fleet became known as the Silent Graveyard. No one dared approach it. The ruins drifted forever, a monument to arrogance and a warning carved into the stars. Every passing ship that crossed those ruins remembered the same words that had started it all. The fleet is ready. Back on Earth, life returned to normal. Farmers worked their fields, children played, workers built new cities. Yet beneath the surface, in hidden bases and silent shipyards, the fleet remained awake. Because humanity understood something the galaxy never had. Peace was fragile, and when broken, it could only be held together by strength. Admiral Kalen stood on the observation deck, watching her ships glide through the dark. Captain Arik joined her, his voice low. "They will not forget this day." Kalen nodded slowly. "Good. That is the point. We never wanted their fear, but now we have it. And with fear, perhaps, we will finally have peace." She turned away, her cloak brushing against the steel floor, her voice carrying one last truth. "If they challenge Earth again, We will not hesitate. The galaxy had learned fear, and fear of humanity would echo for centuries.